Welcome to THALIR. This is a place called Bud. This is budding forth for a new life, and we are Capuchins working for the renewal of the society and the church. Dear brothers and sisters in Jesus Christ, welcome to THALIR Capuchin Online Ministries from Solanas KC Animation Center, Viluppuram in India. This is part of Visit, the Virtual Institute for Skills, Integrity and Transformation. In this week, we'll be dealing with the Sessions on Leadership, second part. We'll be dealing with motivation and goal setting, decision making and discernment, time management matrix and multitasking. All these will be dealt by Fr.Francis P. Xavier, Jesuit priest, and followed by 20-60-20 rule in administration and self-care for leaders dealt by Dr. Wilson, YFM Capuchin. We have also other international trainings programs offered by this institute for the secretaries on skills development program in 2 parts, for the teachers on capacity building and faculty development program, and for the social work directors on project management, fundraising, and also for those in midlife on midlife transition, physical, psychosocial, spiritual well-being. We have also a series of trainings for novices who are preparing for their vows, and for the junior religious who are preparing for the final vows. We also have ongoing formation programs for the religious men and women all through the year. You are most welcome to make the best use of it. Today, I am happy to welcome for this week's program for the Dr. Francis P. Xavier, Jesuit, and Dr. Sundar Wilson, YFM Cap. Here comes the experts.
I want to introduce again Father Francis Xavier. Today, the theme is on decision making and discernment. Discernment is a marvelous word. Discernment, to be led by what God wants, not what I like. Discerning the will of God, discerning the Spirit to inspire us, and also decision making. Sometimes we struggle to make decisions. These two are very important for a leader, and I request Father Francis Xavier to take the chair, to take the floor. Welcome, Father Francis Xavier.
Good evening, Father Nitya, and good evening to all of you present here. I start my presentation. So when I gave the general introduction yesterday, I gave the analogy about the athletes who are ready to run on the track. The umpire says, on your mark, get set and go. So today is the second phase where we get set for our running the course. It's mainly how we are making a decision to run the race. How do we feel? Our thinking and feeling should synchronize. So this would be the focus today's talk. So I would be dealing with decision making, discernment, and how we can build our capacity for the both. And finally, all these things are for leadership, how we can learn from an eagle and also from a tea bag. That will be the end of the things. So welcome again for this evening session. In the decision making and discernment, we have to make ourselves clear that both are not the same. Decision making is more rational, thinking level, and discernment is more on a feeling level or inner level. Both have to synchronize, both have to resonate with each other, then the action would be effective. So the decision making is more on the thinking. You want to decide on something. Let's say you want to start a new institution, a new ministry, or you are given a new mission. And what first we do, collect all the available information on that particular issue, whatever be the available information. And don't be taken up by all the information. At the same time, find out what are the alternatives. This is not the only way to do. There will be many ways to do. Then we have to see what would be meaningful and conducive to our situation, our vocation, our charism. Once this is done, then you have to confirm the credibility of information as well as the source of the information. Today we are living in the world of fake information, where you might have experienced most, if not all, the messages you get in the media at some point or other are fake news, are morphed news, or taken somewhere and fit in somewhere else. So the credibility of the source of information as well as the information itself, you should be able to make it clear to yourself. Once this is done, then you look into the pros and cons. What is the advantage? What are disadvantages? And how we can do that. If need be, you can invite experts in that area. You want to start an institution, then you invite people who are already running the institution. Like in Loyola, Chennai, we are working on making this campus into university. So we are visiting other universities. We even went to Delhi to consult experts and MHRD, AICTU, UGC, all the people. So discuss with the experts so that you get clarity for that. Then you take the action. You need a timeline for that. And once you start, what is important is review, how it goes. Course correction is very important. What is it that we wanted to do in the beginning and how it is going now? It may go in the track you wanted or it may go out of the track. Possible, it might be needed, but if there is need for course correction, you should be ready to do that. So a periodic review, even as the work is taking a shape, is very important. But what is important is not the individual success, but the good of all the people involved, the people whom we serve, the people who are working with us, and ourselves. That assurance, if you have, sometimes we don't agree with what is to be done, how it is to be done, but all the time you look at what is it helping more for the mission that we are planning to do. That will be giving us a clarity in this. The external sign would be there is a harmony, there is a unity, there is a joy in working together, and we own the project or the work. That is very important. It's not that I did not like this or so and so wanted, the provincial wanted, or the superior of the community wanted, or the work director wanted. Once a decision is taken by the group, I own the decision. So this is the decision making that we are doing. And there are various types of decisions that we undergo or face in life. One is routine decisions, daily or weekly timetable, or anything, your monthly recollection or retreat or going home, all these things, it is a routine. It is not much of decision making. Occasionally you can modify, but there are certain things that are called strategic decisions. Right now, to give an example, you have the National Education Policy 2020. Do you agree with that? If you agree with that, how are you going to implement that? For example, they are saying that all the institutions in the rural area, if the number of students is going to be less than 3,000, it would be phased out. And most of our institutions or schools might be in the rural area. How are you going to face it? Or how are you going to implement the national policy? What are the strategies you are doing? So this strategy where they are trying to bring in globalization, what they call the commercializations, all these things, what is the strategic decision that we have? Another thing you might have heard about this recently, the Foreign Currency Regulations Act has been modified. And you see more and more minority NGOs are banned or debarred. What is our strategic decisions? How do we do that? So it is not resting only with administrators. It is with the entire group. The another decision is policy decisions. Policy that we go by. Policy normally goes with the charism of the institutions or the congregations. At the same time, there are certain policies depending on the local needs. Admission policy in our institutions or the congregations. What is the policy in the formation? What is the policy regarding recruitment? What is the policy even to transfer people? Are you going to transfer ad hoc basis or you have certain dialogue with the people? What are the policies that we are doing that? What is the policy regarding education? What is the policy regarding healthcare? These are, again, not resting only with the administrators, but with everybody. And now comes the organizational decisions. This is what is called the reporting line. Who reports to whom? It is not everybody is reporting to everybody else. There will be chaos and confusion. For this, you need job description. If you don't have job description, one will be doing many works or many will be doing one work. Too many cooks will spoil the broth and there will be confusion. So clarity in that, all these will save a lot of time and ill feelings. And the decisions are major decisions, minor decisions. There are certain things should be taken at the congregation level, certain things at the province level, certain things at the institution level, certain things at the community level. There are also minor decisions. What do we do for the Lenten season? How do we celebrate Christmas? All those things, minor decisions that would be resting with the individual communities. But you should know who takes the decisions. The individual may be allowed to take the decisions. Sometimes she checks with the group decisions, certain things. Even if the individual takes the decisions, the community or the working group is informed of it. So the information flow is very important. Then comes the very important thing is making the decision and taking the decision. I think this clarity is brought in by St. Ignatius in his administration. Making the decision is the consultation or discussion that takes place in the community or in the group of administrators. Each one feels this is what I feel, this is in my experience would work or may not work. That discussion or deliberations is what is called making the decision that would help the superior or the work director or the provincial to take the decision. The decision is taken by the superior or by the work director, the principal or secretary of the institution, whoever it may be. But the group helps that person to make the decisions. So we have to be clear about these things. Now, once the decision is taken, it is on the rational level. Mostly you see how many people are for it, how many people are not for it. Normally, the majority would carry the day. But one more thing is discernment. This is again the contribution of St. Ignatius through the spiritual exercises. The whole spiritual exercise is process of discernment, how my thinking, my feeling align with God's thinking and God's way of doing things. So the discernment is a way of life where we follow the movement of the spirit within us. We may have good tendency, we may have Jesus. It is how one feels within ourselves, the good feeling. Are we able to feel well with the decisions? So this is a kind of the decision gets confirmed within myself or with the group. And Ignatius says very clearly, there are certain times where you are not supposed to take the decisions. For example, when you are in desolation or when you are in consolation, don't make decisions. When you are too joyful, you are not going to see things, you will be too generous in doing the things that you are not going to decide. And when you are too depressed and when there is a desolation also, don't decide. You have to be sober, you have to be harmonious, you have to be normal, in other words, to take the decisions. Many things that the decision is taken, I would be addressing this issue on the 15th on the suicide. Most of the time when they are in desolate situation, they take a decision and that is very wrong decisions. And the discernment will be again seen on the fruits of the labor, how you are able to see how you are doing it. The expected effect is whether your decision is effective, whether your decision bears the desired fruits, whether it is good, whether it is useful, not only for us, but for everyone. Again, the external signs are tranquility, serenity, peace of mind. I am peaceful, I am able to do that. This discernment, we do it whenever we have major decisions. At the end of the discussions, everybody would be asked, are you happy? Are you feeling all right? Do you feel comfortable with this? With that, we leave the meeting or deliberations. That is the discernment where my rationality and my gut feeling go together, where we see the finger of God leading me through. Then these components of the discernment is to go into little more detail. What is my disposition? It is the openness, no prejudice. Before going for the meeting, don't say, I know this is going to be decided, I am not for it. Be open, miracles can happen. And then when the proposal is made, it should be clear. At the same time, alternatives would be given. If you don't present alternative, the group will not be able to find out what it is. Only when you have the alternative, then you say what is good, what we can do, then you will be able to do that. And then the time factor comes in. There are certain things urgent, there are certain things important. Important things you have to plan well ahead of time. Urgent things is something happens. Somebody has met with an accident. Don't expect the whole community to come and sit and decide. Somebody has to take the decision there and then. Maybe you can give the information to the community or to the people later. Then you should have certain amount of intellectual clarity based on your expertise or your experience. It counts a lot. The experience might vary. Your expertise will be in different fields, but let us put together whatever we have so that will enrich our discussion. And then the heart comes in, that is the gut feeling, whether I am able to synchronize with others, whether I'm able to resonate with others. Then finally, we have to come to what are the values here. It is ethical to do that. Most of the time we think we are on the path of ethics, but it is good to know that we are ethical. Once again, all these things, the disposition, your intellectual, your inner feelings and resonates, again the confirmation is inner peace. See, all the time in the decision making and discernment, the inner peace, the serenity, the synchronizing with others is very important. In order to strengthen this, one of the methods that St. Ignatius gives in the Constitution to the Jesuits is spiritual conversation. And this has been made very important after the last General Congregation, the 36th General Congregation, where we are supposed to, whenever we have to take a decision, we sit not simply discussing the thing, spiritual conversation. I'll tell you what the difference between ordinary discussion and spiritual conversation. One difference is no argument, no disagreement, rather you listen to others with your heart. So here, the spiritual conversation is a religiously educative activity where we discern in common. We may discern individually, but we need to discern in common. Again, the disposition is very important. I should be open. I should be free from any prejudice. If you go with the prejudice, your decision will be colored, it may not be pleasant to others. Then, in the first round of your conversation, you simply share based on your experience, your expectation, what you think strategy, whether you feel happy with this proposition, where you don't feel happy with the things, others listening with the heart. Nobody interrupts the person. You go one full round, then you reflect what the person has done, take whatever good in that. Then if there is any clarification, you ask. No questions, no arguments, just a clarification. Could you explain to me what it means? I don't understand. Instead of, I know this is wrong, I have more experience than you, that will be argumentative. Then the third one is how much my presence, my thinking facilitates the discernment, whether we are coming up with resonating points. There are certain things that come up and you feel this is the feeling of the group. That will focus on the common mission. It comes by practice. It is not very difficult. We are doing it most of the time and we find it very fruitful. Then comes the resolution. The resolution is we serve together. We won the proposition. And it is not my decision, it is not your decision, but it is our decision for the people whom we are serving. Once again, what is the outcome? Feeling of unity, feeling of harmony, inner peace within myself, harmony with others, unity with the work, and harmony with the people we are going to work. So this is about decision making and discernment. In order to grow in this decision making and discernment, we need capacity building. We have to prepare ourselves. First of all, we should have a vision, either individual vision or a common vision. Then we should get inspiration. This is where we have to go to the roots of the congregation or the founders or foundresses and take inspiration from them. What is the initial mission or feeling or their ideal of this? From there, how the momentum has been building up. Then what is the mission today? So it is the history of our own congregation or our own mission should be known. From the vision, draw inspiration from there will be a lot of people who have done immense work and then pick up the momentum. We have to build up our productivity capacity. It is not mere productivity. The productivity capacity is how I can work better, how I can work more. It is the story of the golden egg duck. Its productivity is one egg a day, that's all. But its capacity could be infinite. So what you have to improve upon this productivity capacity either by learning or by patience or by praying or working together, the capacity building is important. Very often we need to build up the language and soft skills. Today we are in a world of media. Without computer, without a cell phone, we cannot. Without email, you cannot survive. How much we are able to survive soft skills. The language, it is not mere linguistic ones. The language that people speak, the language that the administrators speak, and those things we have to get accustomed to do. For this, we have to constantly read, reflect, discuss with the experts, and we grow in knowledge and wisdom. And also, we should grow in emotional bank account. Emotional account means that don't easily get put out. Don't easily get annoyed. Don't easily become like a pressure cooker, just explode on the people. For this, you need sufficient rest. You need your mind like a post office, wait, reflect, and then act. And rest and recuperation plays very great role. When your body is weak, when your health is not good, you are not in a position to take good decisions. Everything determined by the body situation. Therefore, you have a fixed routine, follow the biological clock, then your efficiency is to the maximum. In order to add color to this, you need to have hobby. Aesthetics, sports, writing, composing music, anything that helps you, especially when you are tensed up, take up your hobby, take a walk, look at the sky or look at the trees. It helps you a lot. And also try to work while waiting. Very often when we go for a meeting doesn't start on time, or you go to meet somebody in the office, especially in the government offices, you go to wait sometimes even for hours. Or sometimes when you are traveling 5 hours, 6 hours, how much you are making use of the time. It's an ideal time where you can read or you can plan, or even some people work on the computer. At this time, you can make use of it for mental planning, because you get through this method better efficiency, and you also acquire eloquence, and you feel confident with yourself, and you are able to do the work. Practice makes perfect. In this strength, you have to build up your skill and will. You may have skill, but you may not have will. You may have aptitude, but you may not have attitude. The skill and aptitude are what we call qualifications, your abilities, and the will and attitude, your inner power. Some people are very skilled, but their attitude will not be very conducive to work. So the skill and will may be driving force to do. We need both. You have to improve your skill. You have to improve your efficiency, your work skill. At the same time, the willpower. I can do it and I will do it. I have started doing it. So that would be the driving force. In this process, you go through these following stages: unconscious incompetence, conscious incompetence, conscious competence, unconscious competence. I give you a little example. A little child, a small toddler, it will not like to ride a bullet, the two-wheeler. It's incompetent, but it is unconscious, but it will not go anywhere nearby. It is happy with the little dolls and the small little things. It is happy. The child grows up 6 years, 7 years. It is conscious that it cannot ride the motorcycle, but it would like to play with mini motorcycles, mini cars, and it will like to enjoy the same way of riding. Then it grows up into an adult, 16, 17 years, gets the license, it wants to drive, and it does, but in the beginning, very conscious, following the rules and regulations, speed limits, the signal lights, and everything it follows. But after 2, 3 years, it is so free, it is so competent, unconsciously it can. It can be talking even the cell phone while riding, looking here, there, and it's like a bird flying in the air. So you have to go with your skills. In the beginning, it takes efforts, but later you become an expert and you become part of your own innate quality. The another area where you can do is dovetailing activities. See a dove, looking at the dove or a bird, they say they designed the airplane. It has got a small peak, a small, little bigger head, a bigger shoulder, then the shoulder tapers down and doesn't abruptly ends. It broadens up in the form of its tail. Why? It needs a sharp peak to pierce through the air. Air and water are the same. You call it aerodynamics or hydrodynamics. The physics is the same. It has to press the air and then it has to put the little head inside. Then it goes. As it goes, it makes enough space for the whole bird to go in. But then if the whole broad thing remains, it will be very resistant. The air will be resistant for the bird to go. So it narrows down so that going ahead is easier. And then, but if it comes down and ends abruptly, the bird will lose its balance. Then the tail opens up a little bit, then it flies. So this is to keep the balance. In the dovetailing activity means, as I said yesterday, what are your priorities? What is the thing? How can you work out the hour-wise plan? Then as you move from your room or from your home to your workplace, can you do a lot of work on the way? Suppose you have to go on the way, you have to pay something in the bank or in the buy something, or you have to pass the message even in the institution. As you go, you finish your business and go. This is called the dovetailing. In the same way, when you come back, most of the people do, when they come back, they go to the market, buy the vegetables, all those things. This is called the dovetailing. Without wasting time, if only you plan out, you can do very effectively. In all these things, what is very important is the value system. You have the peace of mind. Sometimes you do, and then you have the qualm of conscience. You have the guilt feeling. Have I done it right? Will it be approved? Need not do that right from the beginning. Have your values. So you need aptitude, that is your qualification. You need attitude, your disposition. If you excel in your aptitude and attitude, your altitude, you can reach any high, any success will be yours. So here that you have this combined picture, you grow in knowledge, you grow in skills, and you grow in attitude, then your ability will come up. You will be able to do anything under the sun. When you combine with others, it becomes easier. Now we come to the managerial attitude. Most of the time, we are not going to work ourselves. The decision may not be yours, it may be a group, and you discern and accept, but how do you work? You may not be individually working, but you have to work in a team. Team is not your choice. Somebody else will form the team. Somebody else will put people together. Then what happens, once it is formed, all the people may not be uniform. There will be storm. My perception will be different from your perception. My way of doing will be different from your way of doing. There is clash. Then what happens? You have to come to a normal thing. That is the normal thing is the one that I said, the discernment or spiritual conversation, where we come to a normal way of understanding. Then you start performing things. So be patient. When the team is formed, don't jump into your action. That's why every academic year we are supposed to have orientation program. Sometimes people ask why every year we need orientation. Do we get disoriented during the year? It is not that people get disoriented. Sharpen your focus, your views, your goal, and then how do we do better job? That is called the synergy. Synergy is a combination of two words of synchronizing your energy. In the synergy, 1 plus 1 will be more than 3. You may have certain capacities, I may have certain qualities. Putting together, you can do much more than two people. Someone may be very good in making arrow. Someone may be excellent in making the bow, but you need a third person who puts the arrow into the bow and shoots accurately. This is what is called synergy, where we work. In a group, the whole is more than the sum of the parts. I have certain qualities, you have certain things, that person has got, but when you put all things together, that wholeness is more than sum of all of us. That is why it is very important that we pick up the managerial attitude. Next, we also need networking outside of our group, the pooling of the resources, the persons we need to work with the experts. Today, for example, in the religious institutions, not all the functions could be fulfilled by the religious. We need the others. We call it lay partners. Today, we call them partners in mission because they work with us. Sometimes they do more work than we do. So we need to network with them, and we need the facilities in a given campus. If you have more than one institution, whether you can have the website, email facilities, libraries can be put together. Then you enrich each institution, the campus you will be doing. So this is the managerial attitude, focuses on how do you build resources. Not only external resources, inner resources. Can we see eye to eye? Can we work together? We may not agree 100% all the time, but what is the overlapping common area that we will be able to do? Then we can work in that area. Now, in this one, we need to have leaders. Leaders we can have anybody we can have. I am taking a simple example where we can learn leadership. This leadership we can learn from an eagle. So, first of all, the eagles fly high. They fly alone. They are not afraid of going to the very high altitude. No other bird can fly to that height of the eagle. Eagles fly never in a flock, but they can be in a group. So each one can reach Himalayas, but they are staying in harmony with others. Then the eagle remains focused all the time. They have a strong vision. They can see things even from a 5 kilometer from the air, and they can see things even a rodent, a small rat. From that distance, they can see very clearly. And he can focus, and very narrow focus, and once it fixes the focus with a lightning speed, it can come and attack the prey. Whatever be the obstacle on the way, the eagle will not move its focus. It will grab it and it will do, but what is important, the focus never missing the focal point. Then the eagle keeps off, it doesn't go for the outdated materials. Eagles do not eat dead things. It has to kill fresh and eat fresh. Vultures may eat dead animals, but not eagles. They are very particular about that. They do not eat dead meat, but they will be fresh. All the time look for new frontiers. So looking from the eagle side, can we update ourselves in our knowledge and wisdom in experience? Can we move on with research? It is not a lab-related research in our own experience research. Can we look for new vistas? Can we reach newer heights in our own work? So let us steer clear out of the outdated. Sometimes this is the conflict between the elderly in a group and the youngsters. The elderly will say, back in those days we were doing like this. The youngsters will say, who cares about what you had it? This is not the world we are born in. How do we do that? How do we renovate the old information into new formation? We need to do research. We need to look for new frontiers. We need to reach for the best. And also, eagles relish challenges. They're not afraid of challenges. Eagle is the only bird that loves the storm. When the storm comes, all other birds run away and they take very safe positions in order to keep themselves safe from the storm. But the eagles will look where the storm is coming, where the current of the storm is going. It opens its wings in that direction, and the storm takes the eagle without any effort. It goes higher and higher. At some point, the eagle need not even flap the wings, and it even take rest. It can soar to the clouds because it is riding on the storm clouds or on the storm wind. It could feel at home. It is not afraid of the challenges. Need not be afraid of the challenges. Face the challenge. Look into the eyes of the challenge, and you will have the confidence, the courage to go. So we can use the storms of our lives. Make your obstacles as stepping stones. Make your troubles as God's blessings to rise to greater heights. This is the inner dispositions. When your heart is low, tell yourself, I will overcome this. So achievers relish challenges and they use them profitably. If you do this, you can save a lot of time. Otherwise, you are going to languish in a bad mood. And then eagles prepare themselves for the next generation and train them for the future. They follow a process. The male eagle collects twigs, even puts the thorns and soft grass, and finally pluck its feather to build the nest. Then the female eagle lays eggs and they work in turns to hatch the eggs. Once the eaglets come out, they try to give them the lessons how to fly. They take the eaglet to the edge of the nest and just pushes them down. And when the eaglet flaps and falters, it goes and catches it. The same way, it takes the eaglet to a very high place and drops. And if the eaglet has problem in flying, it goes and catches it 2-3 times. Then the eaglet overcomes the fear and it flaps, it starts flying. So we have to prepare our future generations. For this, we have to need to break our comfort zone, get to know the others, get to know how the newcomers are doing, how they can flap their wings in our group, how they can work with us, or how we can work with them, then we can do that one. So another thing we have to learn from the eagle is the eagle has the longest span of life. They live up 70 years, but not at a stretch. But it takes, after 40 years, it takes the hardest decision in life. Because in 40 years, it feels it is old, it has to rejuvenate, and what it does, it goes to a place and sits down there. At the age of 40, it goes to a place, breaks its beak and its talons, that the claws, it breaks them, and then it pulls out the feather one by one. It is very painful, but it does that one, and then it waits for about 150 days, about 5 months. It waits till uh, the feather grows up, the beak comes in, the claws grows in, then it has a new lease of life for another 30 years it goes. So again, it is not afraid of facing the challenge. It is ready to relearn. It is ready to rejuvenate. So what we learn from the eagle is you can fly like the eagle high, and you can remain focused. You can steer clear, and you can come out of the outdated mentality. You can relish challenges, and you can prepare yourselves for the next generation, and you can train the next generation for the future, and be prepared like the eagle to discard what is worthless and be ready to renew themselves. This is one type of leadership. There is another type of leadership is team building. We have to build the team. No person is an island. We need help. Nothing wrong in asking somebody to need help. So the teamwork is a collaborative effort of a group in order to achieve the common goal. So what is important is we have to complete the task, not individually, but together, and it has to be effective and efficient. So we have to work. The greater framework is a team where the group feels the interdependence of the people. Individual matters, but group matters more, where we can work together in order to achieve a common goal. And the last thing I would like to say, what we can learn team leadership from the tea bag. You are very familiar with this. You have a hot water, you put the tea, you brew the tea, sometimes you add milk, sugar, sometimes you want strong tea. So what can we learn from the tea bag? So what counts is what is inside the tea bag. However beautiful the tea bag is, what matters inside, the powder inside. So it is not your title, but it is your attitude that matters. Second, the real flavor when the tea bag gets into the hot water. You cannot make a good tea in the cold water, you need hot water. So only when you face challenges, you shine better. So give yourself a chance when you meet with difficulties. And then the tea bag should be porous. If it is a plastic bag, no tea will brew. So you have to have the immersion experience. You should have experience in the mission. Learn from the people. Don't go with attitude, I know everything, I am coming here to teach. Have the attitude, I am here to come and learn. We learn together and then we work together. So allow new breeze come in you. And four, tea bag works, never mind where it is in the cup. You can put it at the bottom or middle or top till you get the tea. So it is not the position in a team that matters. You may be on the top, you may be on the bottom, but what matters is the teamwork at any level. And five, sometimes one tea bag is just not enough. If you want stronger tea, put one more tea bag. That's all. Sometimes you need additional people in your leadership. Share the responsibility. You cannot do everything. You need not be the atlas to carry the entire globe on your shoulder. Share responsibility. And then sometimes you need to add milk and sugar for your taste. So you can add your knowledge and you can get more support from others. Allow others to support you. If you need to be asked support that adds flavor to your work, that adds feather to your glory. And then remember the tea bag, someone else is holding the string always, depending on whether you want a light tea or a strong tea. At some point, the string is pulled out. So someone is there to mentor, direct, or lead you. So it is not to control you, but to walk with you, to mentor. For the religious, it may be the provincial who holds the string or the superior in the community, but they are meant to direct you or lead you. And yet, it is always how good the tea is, not the tea bag. You visit somebody, you are served very good tea, you don't tell the person the tea bag was good. You always say tea is good. So your good work is the one that is going to speak louder than your words. It is not you that matters, but your good work. So concentrate on the work, not on your individuality. 9, eventually, tea bag needs to make way and get out. You cannot remain there all the time. So the leaders are not going to be with the team all the time. Very often I tell our youngsters, superiors are not internal. They may be there 3 years or 6 years, then somebody else will come in a lifetime. One is going to see about 10 provincials or more than that, or any number of superiors. Why you want to worry about one superior? Eventually somebody will go. But what is important is the leader should prepare second rank leaders. That is very important. You are not going to be there all the time. Encourage the youngsters. Find out what is their hidden talents and encourage them to grow in that talent. And the last point is a refreshing cup of tea that needs time to brew. You cannot have instant if you want to have. If you go to Japan, they have the tea ceremony. It takes 3 to 4 hours just to have a cup of tea because it is conversation. You sit and do, takes time. Be patient. Forming leadership is not one day's work. We are not the finished product in God's creation. Takes time, be patient, have the courage, have the clarity, have the focus, work with others, work in the team, and you will be all set. Thank you very much for your patient listening. If I can clarify your doubts, I'll be very happy. Thank you for your patient listening.
Thank you very much, Father Francis Xavier. It's a wonderful, wonderful way you explained to us this the two models, Eagle's formation of oneself and lifestyle, and also the tea bags. Very striking with all these insightful characters. And we are straight away we are going for intervention, contribution, clarifications. I asked Father Ben to lead the group for the intervention clarification. At 7:25 or 7:30, we'll officially wind up. But still, if there are some questions, you can still continue. So may I request Father Ben to take it up?
Yes, Father.
Okay. You can write the chat box or raise your hand. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, Sister Sudha is having a question. If she unmutes, you can ask for yourself. Okay, otherwise I'll ask for her. Thank you for the excellent session. Ultimately, we need personal discipline. Often there is competitions for power, and we forget the common goal. That's a compliment. Dr. Varghese is asking this question. Is spiritual discernment is objective judgment of the mind or subjective intuition of the spirit or combination of both, Father?
It is the combination of both. The individual is inspired, but within the charism of the mission and the team and the congregation that works. So that our inspiration gets enriched by others, because if the charism is good, when we choose a mission that we should be able to work, but occasionally there will be individuals who have a special charism and we should make provision for that. But not it, that should be only exception, but not the rule.
Friends, if you have any intervention, you can use the hand icon which is available in the participants below the participants list. Sister Lily, could you just unmute and ask Sister Lily's? Katakayam, yeah. Go ahead, sister.
I just wanted a little more clarification on the spiritual conversation. My question is, in order to make major decisions, are we having this spiritual conversation? Will it help us to take major decisions? Or it is just for sharing and community building?
Yeah, the spiritual conversation comes in the background. We have the making and taking decisions. So the spiritual conversation would fall more on the making decisions. The only difference between ordinary discussion is there will be a lot of arguments, trying to find out who supports my proposition, how many are opposing that. It is not that. It is basically how I feel about that. For that, the prerequisite is whoever conducts the spiritual conversation would make things very clear. This is what we would like to discuss. These are the alternatives. These are our limitations. Within this elbow room, what can we do? That means financial crunch would be there, there will be personal shortage will be there will be a lot of government regulations would be there. Within the given space, how we do that. So individuals come up, this is what I feel, and this is what I think. So it is not saying what you say is not correct. I had 10 years experience, you got only 2 experience. That is not the attitude. This is my feeling, and I respect your feeling. Then as you go through, then what happens is I reflect what you have said, and then I ask for clarification. Already it is your emergence of something predominant feeling of the group is coming. That is called the making the decision. And then beyond that, for taking the decision, you have either the governing board in the secular world or the councillors or consult members in the ecclesiastical world, and the same thing in the religious thing. There, the decision is made. And for example, even there, in most of the congregations, the councillors have the right to decide, but the Jesuit order is the provincial who has the right to decide. He can we can bulldoze veto the consult members. That is taking the decision. Ultimately, it rests with one, but basically, it is the making decision. Most of the time, most of the provincials will respect what the people say. So this is starting from individuals. As you go through the feelings and sharing, you feel that is something is coming up in a common, and that is called the making the decision. Then it goes to the decision-making body or decision-making person that is taking the decisions. Am I making myself clear, sister?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sister Geraldine, you can go ahead.
Father, thank you for the analogy of the eagle, and I really like that analogy. The question I'm asking is, I sent it to you on the chat. Can the congregational leadership team stop sisters in different countries to receive new vocation coming into their countries due to the age range of the sisters? And the reason is that it takes 10 years to journey with the formees, and sisters in these countries are from the age of 60 to 80 plus. So the sisters in the countries concerned were not consulted, but were told not to receive new vocations. And although there were ladies interested.
So what is your question, sister?
The question is, can the congregational leadership stop new vocations coming into the various countries?
Yeah, it is a very delicate question. If you say the vocation is the call of God, how can human beings stop it? I agree with that.
Yeah.
But there is also another aspect to that, that is the administrative difficulties.
Mm.
For example, many congregations, you cannot work freely in another country. Transaction, financial things, for example, you may not be able to send money, or people are not able to be there. That is administrative or practical or political situations are there, then it may be considered for what. So you have to say, another thing is in some congregations, the age factor, as you mentioned, is coming. And at some point, people say we may not be able to work. If the vocations are going down drastically, we may have to very fewer members to do a lot of work. So why don't we phase out? That is looking at administrative point of view. The third one you raised is the training. Training, we need not sacrifice the training. Having 8 to 10 years training compared to our training, we spend about 15 to 16 years in our formation, but that is not enough, but still you are going on learning all through the life. So I would say vocation is good, but at the same time, depending on the mission on the practical side, with administrative difficulties and challenges, then you may have to decide. But I agree with you, it is good that consultation is taken to wider circle. I agree with you.
Thank you, Father.
Yeah, Brother Varghese, you can go ahead with the intervention.
On a particular subject, if the superior has a discernment and he has prayed over, inspired by the Spirit, and the individual member is also discerning, but they are discerning differently. Isn't a subjective factor playing a role here? That is first part. Second, vision, dreams, and intuitive powers, does it influence discernment in some way?
Yeah. So that is, I understand the dichotomy or tension between the individual vision and the superior vision. I remember a story that we were told in the novitiate. One young person went and asked the superior permission. Can I smoke when I pray? The superior said no. Another one went and said, can I pray when I smoke? The superior said, okay. So depends how you present it to the superior. And ultimately, it is the superior who decides. Sometimes you can appeal. If it is the local superior, you can appeal to the major superior. Sometimes even from the major superior, you can go to the congregational ultimate superior. There is always possibility is there. But what is subjective, it depends. Sometimes individuals would have a charisma. And very often the congregation recognizes that. which is not a work that is done by a local group or a province. Some individual starts the work and it goes on and it multiplies. More and more people come there. Very often the congregation adopts that work. The problem will come when you want to replace that person. That is the problem. So a person should be ready to hand over everything to the superior. At the same time, the superior also will see what the individual could do. So the charism of the individual could be respected if there is provision, possibility in the community to go ahead. If something is not going to be in keeping with the religious vocation, then you have to think about that. And you have to discuss. And here it is not individual and the superior, you avoid it. That's why you have the council members, you have the consult members. Sometimes you consult experts. So after all these things, if the individual says, well, God appeared to me, this is what I have to do, then you follow, that's it, your way. So there is a provision to a certain extent in the religious life where you can disagree, you can present different views. Very often people come along with that.
Yeah, Sister Shanti Priya, you can intervene.
Yeah, Father, am I audible?
Very much.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, Father, thank you so much for your inspiring talk. It was very enlightening. I have two questions.
Sure.
One is, today's leadership, be it in the congregation or the civil society or church, especially church and congregation, is challenged with that, is a very big challenge to be a prophet. And being a leader and being prophetic is a real struggle for true leaders. Now, and still be a prophet like Jesus, prophetic leadership. Then my second question was, how do we balance tradition versus being relevant for today? Sometimes there will be members in the team who want to be custodians of old traditions, old thinking, old way of doing. Then there will be younger members in the team who would always like to have something newer, something to think out of the box. How do we balance this in a team and promote the second line of leadership, what you were saying?
Good. Not only the superiors should be prophetic, each individual should be prophetic. Today we use the term more visionary. A superior, not only a superior, any head of the institution should be a visionary in simple language. What is your plan for next 10 years? So prophetic is little more theological things, but visionary is something very practical. For example, can you analyze what is the trend that is going? Take, for example, I mentioned about national education policy. They, even now in India, I think about 85% of the schools are with the minorities and mostly Christians, Catholics and Protestants put together. But what is the trend we have? So what is our vision in the present, assuming that NAP is going to be accepted? It's accepted because they have the number in the parliament. How do you survive this? Can you go against the current? So that is the visionary. In other words, in secular term, do you have a planning for the future? So then you come back, the planning is based on discernment, based on prayer, that becomes prophetic. The second one is how you make tradition into relevant. Two ways of doing it. When you feel you are outdated, either you wind up the show or you pick up something new. I'm giving one example, I don't know whether it fits. This is what I heard some years ago when I was a member of the CRI, that the medical mission sisters, they have been running hospitals. Later they realized still they will be in the medical field, but they will go to the indigenous medicine. So leaving the sophisticated hospitals whether they can go for alternative. So this is one way of making the traditional one or the original charism into a relevant mission. And also sometimes it changes. I was talking some years ago, I think it is the Holy Cross order. They have too many Holy Cross. I think there are 3-4 Holy Cross order. One Holy Cross order was founded for medical purpose. One Holy Cross order was founded for education. But it looks like later, the order that was meant for medical took up the education, the order that was meant for education took up the medical. It might happen. So this is, I don't know, I cannot verify this, but it is happening, and we should be ready to wind up or renew. That is what is thinking with the time or reading the signs of time. That's why St. Ignatius told the Jesuits, there is no fixed mission for the Jesuits. What is needed, and go where there is greater need. So be flexible, but wherever you go, do your best. We got stuck in some areas. We say our congregation is meant for medical only, or our congregation is meant only for schools, or our congregation is only for gospel preaching. So instead of that, can you expand your horizon and adapt? Let the new year blow in, open the windows. It is the openness of the mind that paves the way for the openness of the ministry.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sister Shilpa Mary, you can intervene.
Yeah, good evening, Father. I'm happy to attend this session. It was very, very inspiring. I have a small question, Father. That is, you said when we come for discernment, discussion, or decision making, we have to come with an open mind, not biased or prejudiced with the idea that we have. I believe when we come for such discussions, the agenda is there, or I think we are well informed and when we are coming. So what is the way that we can overcome these type of, of being prejudiced or biased, or we have this idea that become open-minded, spiritually open, that solidly we are, coming with without any judgmental mind to this decision-making.
Very relevant question, sister. I agree with you. It may not be that easy to go with the openness, but what happens in the deliberations and discernment, that should be able to open your mind. I give you one example. In my tertianship, my tertian instructor told me he was involved in the process. There was a seminary in Mangalore, which was run by the Jesuits for more than 100 years. And maybe about 20, 30 years ago, in the 90s, there was a request from the bishop to the Jesuits saying, can you leave the seminary? We take over it. There was a discernment process, and one who was invited to moderate the session was my tertian instructor, Father Rexboy, and he narrated to that. Initially, the Jesuits were fuming. How come 100 years we have put in a lot of manpower, a lot of investment, and now the bishop says, get out, and how can we do that? That was the attitude when they jumped into the arena. But as they started discussing it, it went on, I think, 2.5, 3 days. At the end of the discernment, everybody said, we are very happy to hand over the seminary to the bishop. So this is the one example that offhandedly I can remember, where you may not start with openness, but in the deliberations, you pray, you pray over it and ask for the Spirit, and then openness comes, and you feel at home with others, the harmony brings in. Ultimately, you should come to that openness and readiness and harmony. Ultimately, take in wholeheartedly what comes up from the discernment process.
Thank you, Father. Thank you.
For in line with that, for Anthony Michael Raji is asking this question. Thank you, Father, for the wonderful session. We make decisions after a discussion and deliberation, but sometimes we may not be able to make everyone happy about it. What is your advice in such circumstances?
That is very obvious. We may not be able to make happy. That's why I said, once the decision is taken, we don't say it is your decision, my decision, our decision. Own the decision. And whenever I meet, when I was the director of the engineering college, when I meet the staff members for orientation program after the admissions, I said, I have admitted the students, but now onwards, they are your students. Please accept them, they are your students. They are not anymore students admitted by the director. Own them and walk with them, form them. So once you own that, then you may not be happy, but at least you will be satisfied. The happiness, unhappiness comes, oh, my argument was not taken, the other's argument is taken, or I am an expert, I have been in this field for so many years, but the youngsters are taking the current argument, that only brings the unhappiness. If you are able to feel and express the solidarity with the group and own the decision, and this unhappiness could be minimized. You may not be eliminated, but minimized, and at least you will be able to work together with others.
Thank you for that. Sister Sushila is asking this question. Can you please give a little more explanation on dovetailing activities?
Dovetailing is simply as I am gliding through the day, I transact my business. For example, sometimes I go from my rector's room for a meeting in one of the institutions. In Loyola, we have the Arts and Science College, Engineering College, Business School and College of Education, and the Research Institute of Religion and Science. So I have to go one meeting, then in another meeting. I arrange the meeting in a way, normally they check the timing of the meeting with me, I give. For example, tomorrow, I have invited all individual institutions to come and discuss with me a review of the admission process. The admissions are over, and we had a meeting before the admission started, how to go. Now they are coming for a review meeting. Before coming for the review meeting, individually they will have, tomorrow I am meeting them. Once I meet them, the next community meeting, they will be presenting it. But I would know what they are going to present. This is, I am putting time, everyone, I have given 1 hour. In between, the alumni secretary wanted to meet me, so I have given him time during the coffee break, where I will be having coffee with him, and then I will finish the work. So the morning session I can do, all will be coming together and do the work. Sometimes before I go to for example, to one institution, on the way I tell the receptionist, at this time somebody will come, please inform the gate all of the person. If I am late, please give the person tea, coffee, something like that. Then I go to the institution, there I may have to inform something to the principal's office. Then the meeting may be held in another department, I go for the meeting. And if normally I am there 5 to 10 minutes ahead of time, then I meet the officials and what is the meeting about, how things are going on, just to say hello, hello. It is, people are very happy that you don't just barge into the meeting and come out. Once the meeting is over, you move on to the another meeting, and then by the time and come back for lunch, I would have finished 3-4 major meetings. I would met 4 or 5 people on individual cases. Sometimes I stop by in some office and my own colleagues or somebody, I say hello to them. And so that's why you just glide through the day and you are able to do a lot of things. This is what, otherwise you'll be going one and come back. Oh, I forgot this, go there and come back. It will be very helpful, as I mentioned earlier in one of the talks, if you can make a list of things to do with the time indicated, you will be very efficient. You need not waste time. As you move along, you will finish a lot of work. You save a lot of time on that.
For Benny, you can unmute and ask a question. You can intervene now for Benny, or I'll ask for him. Yeah. Like Eagle, how can we renew ours or others' enthusiasm for mission when we feel burnt out?
Yeah, I think many congregations are already aware of that. What you term this midlife crisis. Very often, with those who are teaching in the schools or working in some government job, till the day they retire, they don't realize what they are going to do the next day. On the last day, when they say, thank you very much, tomorrow onwards, you stay at home, you feel out of place. So have you ever thought about, either individually or the congregation, what are you going to do when you retire? Or normally in the many congregations, they have what is called a sabbatical. Every 6 years, 7 years, or even 10 years, you take a break, maybe a semester or even a month, and go and first take physical rest. If anything to be medically attended, do that, and then plan, what am I doing? Can I enrich the work I do? Some people may like to write, some people may like to visit their friends, whatever you do. So this is, don't wait till the day of retirement. What are you going to do? For example, you are going to be 60 or 70. What are you going to do? We don't know how long we are living, but at least we can plan for the day so far we are going to live. And very often I find many people, they come and say, I am ready to offer for this work, offer for that work. And especially people are coming and asking for very elderly people. Recently, we had a request for our pre-novices. They said, can you give some elderly person, not to be merely spiritual father, just to be there. We are just beginning our life. We don't know much about the Jesuit order. So one of the elderly fathers, he readily accepted to go there, just to be there, because they'll be asking, Father, in your time, what did you do? When you were novice, what did you do? So it's mostly the formation in conversation, and also the elderly will also understand the youngsters will be inspired, and that way we have to plan it out. Very often the congregation does that one. There are people in some congregations, especially in the Jesuit order, there will be one who plans for the people, for the elderly. Very much in US, there will be one who will plan out what you could do, and you will meet them periodically. We have to respect the people who retire. Now they have served their time. They are burnt out. But sometimes when we treat them, we don't treat them honorably. Sometimes you say that you are not working, and we make them understand that the community is feeding them. They have done their best. We have to do our best to the elderly people. The point is, whatever time you live, you should be able to live happily in wherever you are. This is my feeling about it.
Further, it is time 7:28 now. 20 minutes. After
There's one question from Lenovo.
we'll ask accept them.
Maybe
Yeah.
the last one. They still can continue. Yes.
Yes. Sisters Lenovo, you can continue with their intervention. Sister, the one who raised the hand. Sister.
Sisters Lenovo.
Go ahead. Sister Lenovo. Yeah, you start. Yeah, start questioning.
I think there is no question.
Malayalam speaking, yeah.
We've got the
Go
question.
ahead. உங்கள்ட்ட கைதான். Yeah, ask the question, sister.
Maybe some mistake, I think.
She was supporting the head, that's all.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. Right. I'll go. Okay, we'll finish the session, then I can
Yes.
read out the chat.
Yes. Okay. So, dear friends, we officially conclude that this moment we can still continue. If there's any questions, please feel free to ask Father. It can be either on this one or time management or discerning, anything that he has dealt, or in any other aspect of leadership. You are most welcome. It will be very helpful for you. Maybe based on some of the questions were based on your practical difficulties. Most welcome. Seems to be very good. Okay, I think we'll be able to wind up. Tomorrow, we'll be having the last session of Father Francis Xavier. Many have asked to give these sessions for the major superiors at a periodical time. That means once in 2 months, we are thinking about it. Father Francis Xavier is a very busy person, but still he is ready to offer 3 sessions per 8 weeks. That means in the course of 2 months, 3 sessions he is ready to give on different specific themes. You are most welcome to make use of it. We also come back to you with various themes. That's one thing. Tomorrow, the theme will be on time management matrix and multitasking. And multitasking and time management matrix. It will be a very good session also. And once again, I remind you for this secretaryship, most of you are dealing with your secretary, maybe for your own secretaries, provincial secretaries or general secretaries, or the school secretaries who are doing the PRO. These are the people who know how to make use of the latest media, the report writing, or making an issue in the media, or making into a video in a mobile. All these things are possible, very expensive, but we are making it available for our secretaries at a very, very practically it is no cost. It's a very good thing. You can make use of this. 1 or 2 secretaries from your province, think of it. It will be of great use to you, but you have to register earlier. Don't worry if the money has to be paid later on, so you can nothing to worry, but register yourself earlier so that we will be alerting our experts team. And followed by the 3 days training program for the teachers. If you are in a school, if you want to develop your faculty to a higher level, there will be 3 days session for the teachers. It is open to all teachers of all the countries, no problem. Yes, these are some of the informations. Shall we wind up? We can.
There are 2 questions, Father.
Okay, please, yes, please.
Yeah, this is from Sister Lilies again. How can a superior help the members to have common vision if they are in different levels?
I would say that 2 levels. One is information sharing with the community. The other one is being available to the individuals. How much the superior is available to the people in the community is a very critical thing. You may be busy, but 2 things are important. Care of the work or the mission, care of the people. We call it cura personalis and cura apostolica. One should not be sacrificed for the other. And between the 2, people are more important, because without people you are not going to do the work. And in the community, don't be worried if the community is critical or they don't buy what you say, but the information is there. The community members know that you have the power to decide. but it will be helpful if the community is taken along. So normally that's why we say we have the community deliberations or the discernment. Then it comes to the superior takes it up in a smaller group of the council members. I assume each community has got a council. We have a consult, not only the provincials consult, the superiors consult. And then it comes to the individual superior to decide. So in this case, what is I would recommend is allow people to disagree with you and then have a dialogue with you. Not that you are going to convert everyone, not that everybody is going to agree with you, but at least they will see the point and they'll say, okay, go ahead. That is the attitude that we should have minimum. So that is what we call the common minimum workspace that we want to have. So in other words, communication flow, availability to the members.
Yeah, the last question for today, Father, it's from Sister Velangani. Why the religious people are having the tendency of suicidal? Are they not right decision makers?
Suicidal, I would deal with that in my talk on the 15th. But to address the thing is, there are many reasons. Sometimes people are very sensitive. They can't stand criticism or they cannot stand failures. Second is they cannot tolerate any humiliation in public. So I always say you can appreciate a person in public, any amount of appreciation in public, even overdose of appreciation in public. But if you want to be critical, you want to give a dose or a piece of your mind, individually do that. And very often the expectation of the individual and the expectation of the group or the congregation don't meet. So we have to sit and talk with them. Very often I feel bad when individual commit suicide. I always say, isn't it the community responsible for that? Do we say, oh, that is his problem or her problem? How much I have been with that person? If I cannot help, can I refer it to professional ones? There are a lot of symptoms. They say about 80% of the people before committing suicide, they give some kind of indications in their talking or in their behavior or their mood swing. So people do give indication. We don't. Very often we say, oh, he's like that or she's like that. And one fine day you regret. And also individuals, sometimes they're also mature. That's why I mentioned when Ignatius says, when you are depressed or when you are overjoyful, don't take decisions. Very often for not only the youngsters, for people, we need someone who is a mentor. We call it spiritual director, but it could be in the same congregation. Somebody with whom I can freely talk. So this is very important. Many of these people don't have a good friend. When it comes to a friend, I always say, whether inside a congregation, outside a congregation, meaningful friends. They should be able to share. And if they don't have, then I think the superior or others should be able to find out something is wrong with the person. When you share with someone, the someone would be able to either advise or able to recommend a professional help. So the community plays a major role in somebody's unfortunate decision making.
Thank you for that. That's all for the interventions tonight. Father Nitya Sagayam.
Yes. Thank you, sisters, fathers, and brothers. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice time. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, everybody. Tomorrow we shall meet at 6 o'clock, but the room will be open 15 minutes earlier. 15 minutes. And tomorrow, as I said, that session will be on time management matrix and the multitasking. Have a nice time. We'll meet again tomorrow. Thank you so much. Thank you, Fr.Francis Xavier.
Thank you, Father Nitya.
Thank you, Father Francis Xavier.
All the people participated. Have a nice evening. See you tomorrow.
Yes,
Thank
big
you, Father.
thanks,
Same to you.
Bethany group, Anugraha group, all good, very good.
Thank you, Father.
Father.
Thank you, fathers. Thank you.
Thank you. Allah SD.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Father. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sister Usha.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, THALIR caps, our caps. Bethany group. Bethany is there.
You, Father.
Wonderful, wonderful, Sister Galaxy. Anugraha. Which Anugraha? Dindikal? Bethany Anugraha. What is that Anugraha group?
Not Bethany Anugraha.
Which congregation? Saint Anne's. Saint Anne's. Your mother general is here. Saint Anne's mother general from Italy.
Yes.
Oh, so you have been present. Attendance. Francesca. Yes. Yeah. Yes. Yes. With that.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you, Father. Where? I'm not able to guess from where the sound is coming. Lawrence. Lawrence is the next room. I thought he's coming from London. Yes. THALIR caps, Mother Teresa. Sure bet. Thank you. Very good, very good. Saint Anne's is a big group. Yes. Saint Anne's, Bethany, Leon's. Hope your secretaries are all registering. It's not for everybody. Yes, it's not only for secretaries. I'll be sending. Yes. Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
No, that is somebody else.
You can meet your sisters here and talk directly. Yes. If they are some other one also can talk. Vikasbury sisters. Galaxy M11.
Forever boy. Okay, bye bye.
Xavier's English. Susan's iPhone. Lily's Maria Joseph. Saundari. Galaxy. Dennis, Evo, Alsa, Alfonso, Susan, Pratibha, Mary, Stella, Gilbert, Anju. Oh, good, wonderful names are there. Jeevamala. Oh, Jeevamala, Sister Mary. Kumudini. Alice, Aretha, Kim, Elsie, Renita, Manjupalena. That's a new name. You can meet your sisters in other countries, missions. There are many, good number of people from African missions, Europe also.
Hello, Father. This is Magic Pelina. Hello, Father.
Sister, yes?
Yes, Father.
From where?
Thank you very much. This is from Liberia.
Oh, Liberia. Where are you? What's your name, sister?
It's Magic Pelina.
Okay. I wanted to ask you a question. Is it possible for you to give the entrance hymn tomorrow morning at the beginning of the session with your youth group from Liberia? Sister?
I don't have a youth group. There's a youth group here.
Or 2-3 people is called old people group.
I can put 2-3 people to give money here.
Yes, you record and give. Local language, not English.
Okay, Father, I'll try to get some people.
Mayu Palena, no?
Yes.
So I'll write your number, sister. Can you?
Mayu Palena, the actual name is Sister Julia, Father.
No, Mayu Palena is better. Mayu Palena.
You like the Mayu Palena?
Yeah. Julia, 101 names are there, but Mayu Palena only one in the world. That is you.
Okay, Father. Okay.
Liberia.
Yeah.
Do you have some friends there, other sisters or youth group, boys and girls?
We have some students here.
Wonderful. Bring them together. Let them clap and sing and make some noise.
All right.
6 o'clock Indian time, evening.
All right. Okay, Father. I'll try to organize a few.
What is time there, sister?
Now it's 2:17.
2. Okay, 2.
In the afternoon.
Nearly 5 hours. 4:30.
So 6 o'clock will be like midday for us.
Okay, excellent, sister Mayu. You sing tomorrow with your group. What language you'll be using? Liberia language.
It will be one of the local languages in Liberia. When I meet the group, we'll decide what language should be.
English.
All right, okay,
English,
Father.
anything, yeah. Local language.
English. Okay,
yes.
very fine, Father.
Bring. Typical Liberian style.
Okay, Father.
With all vamping.
Typical Liberian style.
Yes.
All right, okay.
You send me a note to my WhatsApp number. You know my WhatsApp number?
Oh, yes, Father, I have. You've been texting me. I have.
Because I need some 5 lines about you and your congregation. Which is your congregation?
Oh, okay.
Your congregation?
FMM, Father, Franciscan Missionary.
FMM, yes. Missionaries, okay. Good.
FMM.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Good, so I could get, because I wanted
Father.
last week
Thank
itself.
you.
My plan. 6 o'clock, your line is okay, no?
Yes,
Internet?
yes, that's true.
Thank you.
Yeah, internet line is working, Father.
Okay. Sister Teslin.
Okay, bye-bye, Father.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Sister Teslin, you are an Assisi sister?
Thank you, Father. You're welcome.
Assisi? Shartala sister? Your mic is off. You're unmute your mic. Okay. Which congregation, sister?
SD. Sisters of the Destitute.
Sisters of the Destitute. I am a destitute sister. Yes.
Thank you, Father. Thank you for this day.
I was ordained in a destitute home only. We all had ordination there. Yes, very good. Sister Galaxy M11. What congregation, sister? Galaxy. Teslin, SD. Veronica De Brito. All thank you. Father Ben, thank you so much. It was very
It's
good.
okay, Father.
Excellent
I'll end the
questions
meeting.
today. Yeah, very deep. They asked very good questions. Clarifications
Yes.
were very good. Yes. We'll send it today itself. I'll send the audio file today itself to all of them.
Okay, Father.
And also I'll circulate a poster about that next one talk, 15th of October. That's on
Okay.
suicide, that issues, no? How to deal with.
Yes, Father.
Oh, sister, those who want can participate.
Yes, Father.
That's all. Today also I think we escaped. I think it came some 480 or something.
480. It came up to 480.
Thank you. I was a little worried if it is going beyond 500. That's good. And sound was clear. Mr. Teslin, where are you now? Where is your community?
Father, now I am in Yalakuda. Chalakudi.
Yes. Yeah.
Chalakudi.
Chalakudi.
Priest home. Priest home.
Yes. Yes. I've been there. Irinalakuda, Chalakudi.
Oh, thank you.
Thrissur.
Yes. Thrissur district.
When the new bishop was appointed, I was there. Padayatil, James Padayatil. He became bishop. He was there for an exhibition we made. Small boy, at the time I was very young. 40 years before, I think. 40, maybe, yes, more.
Yeah,
Very good, sister. Is it raining there now?
No. What, Father?
No rains?
No rains today.
Okay, good.
Okay, Father, I'll end the meeting.
Yeah, I think so. You can go. Thank you, sisters, all of you. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, sister. Sister Maria Renita. FMM. No sound. Okay. Thank you, Father Ben.
Yeah.